Aleisha eyed the jewel warily. Red diamonds, reminiscent of a sunset, sparkled brilliantly on a velvet cushion. It was a gift from Franz. There was no special occasion or anniversary to celebrate. He simply wanted to give it to her. This reason alone was enough for Franz to send her a gift. Because he wanted to. Franz had sent countless gifts over time. A dressing room that looked as if an entire store had been moved into it was no longer surprising. At first, Elysia had felt uncomfortable with his insistence on giving gifts, but gradually she had grown used to it. But this is a first-class red diamond. Did you know that red diamonds are worth 50 times more than regular diamonds? They are the most expensive gemstones. We searched the entire empire to find one as vibrant red as the hair of Her Highness the Second Princess. This is too much. Aleisha's expression turned serious at Aaron's explanation. When she remained silent, he continued. There are no blemishes, and it was cut by a skilled craftsman, so it sparkles from every angle. Whatever accessory you make of it, it will stand out. Also, if you look here to the side, there are engraved letters. It's hard to see with the naked eye, but if you use a magnifying glass, you'll find a unique serial number. Aaron continued speaking like a professional jeweler. Most of what he said was full of technical jargon that Aleisha didn't understand. She raised her hand to stop him and asked a question. I won't understand even if you keep talking. So, the bottom line is, it's incredibly valuable, isn't it? True. A jewel worthy of being passed down as a family heirloom. Then why are you bringing it? Why didn't Franz give it to me himself? He is in Dafa now. At that, Aleisha frowned. Dafa. Recently, Dafa had become a hot topic due to the mana stone mining rights dispute. But Elysia was not interested in the place. Because it was destined to collapse in a landslide soon. In fact, it wasn't just indifference, she was deliberately ignoring it. An upcoming landslide meant anyone nearby could be swept away in the disaster. However, Franz had gone to Dafa alone. A risky move. If his mana affinity was with earth or air, maybe it would be safer. But Franz's specialty was ice. If a landslide occurred, he would be completely helpless. Did he think he had multiple lives just because he had returned once? Aleisha sighed. Franz hadn't said anything, but he was already suffering from the side effects of returning. She still clearly remembered the image of him coughing up blood. Moreover, neutralizing the mana had not been successful. He could barely suppress his mana with the doses Aaron provided. Anyone else in his condition would be bedridden. But Franz was acting more energetic than a healthy person. Yesterday, he had even visited the Linden lands. He had said it was to explain why he had been deliberately excluded from the meeting of nobles that discussed Aleisha's removal. While there, he would try to gain Linden's support. He came out yesterday too, and now he's in Dafa? Aleisha didn't try to hide her annoyance. Aaron blinked in surprise, then smiled gently. Yes. He went with Lyndon Schuyler. After that, Aaron asked eagerly. Are you worried? Elysia fell silent and looked at him. It was clear that he wanted a specific answer. Seeing that expectant look, she replied irritably. What do you think? When one question was answered with another, Aaron widened his eyes slightly before smiling. You look very worried. He looked so happy. Elysia decided to let him think what he wanted. Somehow, his assumption wasn't entirely wrong. She was worried about Franz. What if he had an accident in Dafa and died? What if he was buried alive in a landslide and couldn't breathe? Just thinking about Franz's death sent shivers down her spine. Stop thinking about that. The deeper her thoughts became, the more nauseous she felt. Aleisha forced herself to clear her mind and turned her gaze to the jewel. It sparkled a brilliant red, like the setting sun. She clenched her fist softly. I'm not worried about Franz. I'm worried about my revenge failing. Trying to calm her volatile emotions, Elysia made excuses for herself. Her concern for Franz was for revenge. If he died in the middle of her revenge on Crichton, that would be a problem. Until then, Franz must remain healthy and stay by her side. It was his duty. He had promised, after all, to help her get revenge. She was in a bad mood because he had broken that promise and acted recklessly. He had stepped into danger alone, without permission, violating their agreement. For this reason, Elysia did not try to hide her displeasure as she scolded Aaron. Why didn't you stop him? Was it my duty to do? Okay, Dafa is about to. Elysia stopped mid-sentence. She didn't know how much she could tell Aaron. He was the most mysterious person she knew. Sometimes he acted like a magician, and today he was acting like a jeweler. She had no idea which face was the real one. With her cautious nature, Aleisha would normally keep someone like him at a distance. I don't know what will happen to Dafa, but I know that His Highness Franz will return to the palace tomorrow morning. Aaron answered indifferently, then winked. So, you can thank him for the jewel then. Aleisha sighed. Whatever Aaron's true identity was, it didn't matter as long as he didn't hurt her. From what she had seen of his actions so far, he had no intention of hurting her. If anything, he was strangely kind to her. Although she didn't know why. You're the one who got the jewel, right? Yes. Would you prefer a different one? Elysia reached out and took the diamond. She held it up to the sunlight streaming through the window. As Aaron said, the diamond was flawless, no blemishes. Its vibrant red, like the setting sun, gives it a magical aura different from the typical white diamond. I don't need another jewel. But I want to make a ring out of this. Who should I ask? Ring? Aaron blinked and repeated her words. Aleisha turned to look at him. Noticing his curious look, she added, I want it to be a simple design. Something very flashy that would be difficult to wear every day. The jewel itself is eye-catching, so a simple design will still look beautiful. Aaron nodded in agreement. If you trust me, I will handle it. How long will it take? I hope not too long. Elysia put the jewel down and asked. Aaron smiled and said it would take about a week. I entrusted him with making the ring. With their work finished, Haroun put the diamonds back in the box he had brought and tucked it inside his cloak. Aleisha watched quietly as he disappeared into the shadows, as if he were being swallowed by them. It had startled her at first, but now, she was used to it. As she became accustomed to Franz's previously unknown sides, she was adapting to many new things. Things that Elysia could never have imagined in her previous life were becoming her new reality. The large dressing room, the polite palace staff, Franz's courteous behavior. It's all become her new normal. If I had lived like this from the beginning. Elysia looked around the sun-filled room. She gently touched the fourth finger on her left hand. The place where the wedding ring should be, remained empty. Everyone says Dafa is the next great man of mine. Lyndon swirled his glass of whiskey as he spoke. On the other side, Prince Franz sat. Sitting with his long legs crossed on a black leather sofa, the prince silently sipped the amber liquid from his cup. Lyndon continued, sitting in his office. I thought so too. Do you still think so? Franz removed the cup from his lips and looked at Lyndon. Lyndon shook his head slowly. After seeing Dafa with his own eyes, it was true, the place was pulsating with mana. If it is mined, many mana stones can be obtained. But there was one crucial problem. The terrain is very unstable. People are so fascinated by mana that they ignore this fact. Franz answered calmly, putting down his glass. His eyes, golden like wheat fields in autumn, stared intently at Lyndon. I found that out pretty well. Lyndon's lips curled into a soft smile at the second prince's praise. There's something else I realized. Lyndon met the prince's gaze directly and continued. Everyone says that His Highness the First Prince is the next emperor.